I'm currently writing the script at the back of my office floor. My coffee is getting cold and my water bottle is pretty much half empty at this point. And if my boss walked right by me, he'd think I'm grinding it out with some complex feature of our sprint. But the truth is, I haven't written a single line of code all year. At this point, I'm a software engineer who's been replaced by a chat box. And I'm just waiting for the company to basically replace us. If you're a student or a white-collar worker like I am, you know you're not looking at a terrible job market. You're basically looking at the end of a cushy white-collar job era. I mean, for now, things are pretty smooth sailing, but I don't see this lasting for too long. If I were like some kind of big shot CEO, I probably wouldn't want to keep around too many workers, to be honest. They're all expensive and you could just have AI do most of the work. What's funny is I'm supposed to be quote unquote at the forefront of technology as a software developer. But truthfully, I just feel like a ghost just floating by. All I do is talk to an AI about what I want to build and it builds it for me. And honestly, it built it even better and faster than I could. At this point, all I do is just check for basic little business logic mistakes, and that's it. Then I hit commit. I'm basically giving about 10% of my effort to this job. It's just enough to keep the paycheck coming. It's crazy because I remember the first time this feeling really hit me. I think I was basically trying to write a complex backend API query, and it's something that would have taken me usually an hour or two, but I typed a prompt into the AI chat box. What we use is Copilot. I described it what I needed, and 10 seconds later, it spit out the code, basically picture perfect and better than what I could have written. And I just sat there staring at the screen, being like, what the fuck? I wasn't necessarily relieved or happy about it, but it did make me feel a little empty. I mean, I didn't do anything, and all I did was just ask this chat box on what I wanted. And that's the moment when I realized I wasn't going to be an engineer anymore. I was basically just going to be a middleman. And yeah, I do sometimes feel a little bit guilty about it, not going to lie, because I do know what it's like to be unemployed, to grind out application for months on end, and to feel that desperation. So when I'm sitting here giving 10% effort, just collecting a full paycheck, but what else am I going to really do, right? Am I going to really work that much harder at a job where AI is going to replace me anyway eventually? And that's kind of the trap that I'm feeling. I feel guilty, but I also feel stuck. And I don't think it's worth dwelling on it. So personally, I just spend my time doing what I love, which is creating. And that's basically why I started this channel, and to see where it goes. But here's where it also feels a little bit twisted as well. I spent years doing an insane hamster wheel grind to get here. It was 6 months of straight 9 to 5 job hunting just to get a foot in the door. I gave up and I settled for a job that I wasn't interested in, but I bided my time for a whole year while I still continued to apply. And then finally, I landed a software engineering job that I wanted, and I was over the moon about it. I finally got the job that I wanted after grinding and studying so hard for. And by the way, I didn't even major in computer science too. But unfortunately, that wasn't to last too long. I got shafted pretty freaking hard within the first few months. And here's what happened. I remember this exact meeting. My manager called me into a small conference room, and he had this demeanor, and it was different from his usual cheerfulness. But no biggie, maybe he was having a bad day, right? Then he said, we're restructuring. Your role is being eliminated, but we're moving you to QA. And I was like, what? Does that mean I'm not coding anymore? And obviously that's what it meant, but I was so shocked, I didn't even know what to say. And for those who don't know, QA is quality assurance. You're not really coding, but you're basically checking other people's code to make sure that whatever that they coded up is working properly. I mean, not to bash on my QA folks, of course. It just wasn't the job that I grinded so hard for. But anyway, I remember he said, well, you can still take up a few easy stories here and there, but effectively your duties will still be in QA. And yeah, I basically understood. That was corporate speak for fuck you, fuck what you want, you do what we need. And I remember walking back to my desk, feeling this pit in my stomach. And not because QA was bad, of course, but I knew what this really meant. I was getting shafted into a role that nobody wanted to do, and I caught the short end of the stick for being new. And so back on the grind we go. It was a whole nother year of agonizing pain and grinding it out over probably thousands of applications. It's crazy because I fought for that seat only to find out that it was getting deleted anyway. So I do see why new grads are getting shafted in this job market. If I were a CEO, I probably wouldn't hire a human either. Why pay a developer's salary when a prompt can get you 90% of the way there for a lot less? Thankfully, after that agonizing year of just grueling job applications, I'm now in a pretty cushy spot, and that gives me the opportunity to focus on what I want to do, which is content. Working within tech, and it's not just about the money either, it's also there's an existential dread that I can't seem to shake. I watched a documentary about this guy recently, and it's been stuck in my head. Are you guys aware of the Unabomber? And look, I'm not endorsing him. The man was a terrorist and he killed people. That's not up for debate, of course. But he did have this theory, and it was called the power process. The idea is simple. You set a goal, you put in the effort, and you achieve it. Think about the last time you built something with your hands, fixed something, or you learned something hard. Remember that feeling at the end? That satisfaction, the dopamine hit? That's the power process. Now think about the last time you used AI to do something for you. It was fast, easy, and efficient. And then nothing. You get no satisfaction, just the relief that it's over, I guess. And that's what I feel AI is stealing from us. It's not necessarily our jobs per se, but it's also our sense of accomplishment. I have the goal, I have the result, but the middle, the part where you actually build something, that is gone now. I'm achieving things that I didn't earn, and it's making me feel, I guess, a little bit hollow. I mean, I can accept that this is a job, thankfully. It's not that big of a deal. But I have a lot of peers that feel like the job is soulless now. The high of fixing a crazy problem and getting that dopamine rush, that doesn't exist anymore. It's unfortunately pretty ironically funny. We wanted AI to do the dishes so we could make art, and instead it's making the art so we can do more dishes. It's pretty freaking sad, honestly. This AI slop is everywhere, and it's effortless, but crazy enough, it's entertaining. It's washing out the true artists out there who work and bleed for their craft. I've seen the AI movie clips. I've seen the AI channels popping up with millions of views and subscribers. I didn't get into tech because I love coding. I got into tech because it offered stability and a path out of the daily crazy grind that I was doing before. And the dream was simple, right? Work my 9 to 5, collect a paycheck, and use my free time to make music and content. I mean, that was the plan at least. But now that 9 to 5 feels like it's disappearing, and the art feels like they're being industrialized by AI. So what's left out there? I don't have the answer to that, but I know I'm not alone in asking that question. We're trading our critical thinking and our soul for a bit of convenience. Also, a few people can get insanely rich. Is this truly the future that we worked so hard for? Is all of this even worth it? So here I am, just sitting at the back of the office, right? Quietly journaling, giving just enough effort to keep the paycheck coming while I figure out my real exit. Because the cushy life was a lie. I don't know if there's even ever been a double-edged sword like AI. It might cure cancer, it might automate traffic, it might do our dishes eventually. But the dark side, I don't know if it's worth that trade-off. If you feel this dread too, if you feel like it's just weird out there, you're not alone. We might be the last generation that remembers what it feels like to actually build something. I guess what I'm really trying to say is don't lose what really makes you human. Don't give up the effort and the struggle for the craft. Anyways, I got to get back to coding now. If you made it this far, I appreciate you liking and subscribing. I'll see you on the next one.